Lest there be any questions about his true intentions, consider this. He sent an article, you heard this testimony, to Wally Sajek on December 24th, 2024, just before this trial started, entitled, Rihanna Fears Heartbreaking Consequence of A$AP Rocky's Trial. And he sent it with a smiley face. A smiley face. This parasite is hacking. If he can hurt that family, that woman, and her family, by sending a smiley face, like that's funny. That's funny. Because she fears the heartbreaking consequences of this trial. So he doesn't care about this trial. He just wants his money. He wants to be on idle relaxing. And he's laughing and mocking what he can do to Rihanna and them. And he needs you to get that done.
And I'm going to bring up something that's really important. The defendant is a celebrity. His wife's an even bigger celebrity. Many of you know who they are. They brought in 2 adorable children yesterday for closing argument. Now, they haven't been here at any other time. And you have to ask yourselves, those kids have a right to be there. Why children that age would be here in a situation like this, don't know. But you have to ask yourselves, am I going to let my feelings of not wanting to convict the defendant? And Mr. Tacopina made it very clear. If you noticed in closing today, he literally brought up Rihanna, he brought up the defendant's family, and he basically was saying, hey, listen, if you convict him, it's going to be very difficult on the family. That is not something you are allowed to consider. So I'm not telling you I don't think you should consider it. You are not allowed to consider it. If you think you are allowed to consider it, ask the question of the judge when you go back. You can send out notes. You can ask questions. You are not allowed to consider how this might affect Rihanna or his kids. And there's a very simple reason. We are all in the world responsible for what we do. And I'm going to add something else, too. There was testimony from A$AP Lou. And A$AP Lou, even though it wasn't a question, A$AP Lou wanted to get in front of you, I think 2 times at a minimum, that the defendant is looking at.
In your argument, Mr. Lewin, you made reference to Rihanna being in the courtroom and the kids being in the courtroom. The manner in which you did it, I don't think was improper. However, for the balance of your argument, from here on out, there is to be no mention of Rihanna being in the courtroom or the kids being in the courtroom.
Just them not being in the courtroom, but I can mention, here's the problem, Your Honor. The defense got up at the end of the court, and they talked about the impact of this case on Rihanna.
I said in the courtroom.
Oh, just don't mention it in the courtroom.
Do not mention again Rihanna being in the courtroom or the babies being in the courtroom. There should be no mention of that again.
Right. I'm just trying to understand, but I can mention the issue, just not talking about being in the courtroom.
Mr. Tacopina went into that.
Okay.
You're entitled to.
I wasn't
no mention.
I wasn't trying to
in the
argue
courtroom.
report. I just wanted to understand what we were asking.
There should be no mention.
We'll do it.
All right. Let's bring the jury.
Yeah. Try to be very, very careful.
Again, when we're talking about what's happening in the courtroom and people taking issues with things, we also saw this. You tweeted it out as well. This happened there. The judge saying, do not mention Rihanna being in the courtroom or the babies being in the courtroom. This was Judge Arnold. This is what he told the Deputy DA, John Lewin. He referenced Lewin's earlier comments, said that they were fine, but no more mentions of her. Why is it so important that Rihanna is not mentioned in the case? She's been in the courtroom, there in the audience the entire week, even bringing, again, the 2 babies, Riza and Riot, by her side yesterday. But again, no more mention. Why is that important?
I think the judge has some concerns about preserving the family's right to go to court to support a defendant. And I think there's just kind of a fine line here between John Lewin wanting to draw attention to the fact that jurors really are not legally allowed to consider Rihanna and the babies when deciding whether to convict Rocky. And he was pointing out that Joe Tacopina has explicitly referenced Rihanna to try to drum up sympathy. And he's warning the jurors that if they did try to consider that, it would be considered juror misconduct. So that's why Judge Arnold said that he thought those comments were fine, but no more comments about Rihanna being in the courtroom from here on out. And I think it's just kind of a fine line that we're skirting between addressing the celebrity in the room, the literal celebrity in the room, and then obviously preserving the right of that celebrity to be in court and support her family.